Evening, guys. My name's Simon Bowsher. I am the guy that runs Tuto Goalkeeping. I'm delighted to be joined by Neil Etheridge and our good friend, the Modern Day Goalkeeper, as he's known on social. We're at the Prodirect LDN 19 store today, and now what we're really going to do is just get into the product, really, and talk about what Tuto's product offers currently available, and the backstory about how it came to the marketplace. Neil started working with Tuto before Tuto existed, and Tuto came into the marketplace in November 2015. And in July, Neil was one of the first people that actually got their hands on the samples that were in development, pre-production. And we had a very simple conversation, which basically consisted of me saying to Neil, if we can't get you product which was equal to or better to what you're currently wearing, no drama, just walk away. Just test it for me, give me your honest feedback, and we'll take it from there. And then working with Lee, more recently, as the Tuto collection has evolved over the last 3-4 years, we came to develop a second silo, the Secutor product, which is a totally different glove. So probably best to talk about the Maximus, your first experiences of working with Tuto. What makes a glove for you?
Well, I remember when you came to me and you said, try this glove. And I was like, okay, there's a few things I want to change.
Yeah, we got to stress at this point, right? Because Neil, throughout all of his career, I met Neil about 10 years ago, right? So Neil at that time was having gloves made for him that were customised, right? Which is very unique for kids that are coming through academies to have gloves which are very bespoke. So his level of insight with gloves is basically, I'll have what I want from a young age, right? So in terms of knowing what you're after, it's a very simple chat. If it's not what I want, I'm not touching it, right? So we first met, and that was where we started off. So sorry to intersect, but you crack on, mate.
Yeah, I remember you came with a glove and I was just like, okay, it's not that bad. But there's a few things that I want to change. And obviously it's tough. You've got a roll finger. Some people prefer flat palms and negative cut. So to please everyone, it's not easy. And I went for a negative cut, so that's what I wanted. And I wanted it to be more fitted to my hand, and I wanted it to be a thin palm. And I didn't want it to be baggy, and that's what I was used to. And with all the technology that was there, I wanted to say, hey, look, I just want it to be really fitted, so I can feel the ball. And that's where we kind of started, wasn't it? It was like, hey, what I'm going to do now is that we'll try and strip certain things back and we'll make it a tighter fit. I think you look at other companies before and they were looking at big, chunky, thick gloves. And I think that generation is gone now. People want more fitted gloves and something that they can feel the ball, not hand warmers in the winter, basically.
Yeah.
And remember you coming and the grip was really good and I was very surprised. And you are, I mean, it's a new company. And you never know what's going to happen. And
that's the thing, you get access to, I think a lot of people have this misconception that you guys have whatever you want, but your time in terms of being able to test new products is very limited because you don't want to take any risk. And it's the same with you, Lee. I know we've had the same chat. If there's any hesitation, any doubt, it doesn't even get worn in training. Yeah. It doesn't get past the initial fit. And that's something that a lot of people kind of think, well, they get loads of product, they can try out. If it doesn't work, it's one of them. But it's quite brutal, isn't it? If it goes on, and you've got any doubt, it comes off.
Will you ever feel, as soon as you put on a glove, you put on a glove and you can tell straight away, it's a yes or no that even make it past the changing room door, basically. Definitely. And then all of a sudden, I wore the Maximus glove and I was like, okay, I'll test these, I'll go for them. There's a few adjustments, but there's nothing major that I'm thinking, I'm not wearing these again. And that's a good sign. That's a good sign. And then we made a few adjustments and personal adjustments because it's all about the feel of how you feel in it.
And that's one that's worth exploring because you say, like, personally for you, there's a couple of fit details that will be constant on any glove you wear, right? So when you look at a glove, it might be worth giving like the wider audience a steer on what it is. When you talk about that fit, because it's so subjective. Fit is one of these things that's so personal. What is it that what are those fit points that you do when you pick up that first glove? For example, this is the Maximus. This is an aqua glove which is currently available now, but would have been very similar to that first Tuto glove you tried on.
It was very similar to this, and for me it was all about the back. You find sometimes that the back is too big.
Bulky.
And it's bulky, and then you open your palm and you've got too much excess coming here, and you think, oh, that's not too bad. But then obviously when you clench your fists, you open it. You don't want it to feel loose.
So you get like a bunch.
The backhand is for punching. So all you'd need is something there really. So you don't need extra bulk around the wrist and bottom of the hand.
So you noticed it immediately when you make a clench. If there's any kind of bagging over the back, if the material is excessive, it's an issue, right?
And then the water comes, and then it gets even more spongy and bulky. So
yeah, exactly. And then once it's been washed
a
few times, you know, they naturally will become slightly looser, not too much, but they do a little bit. And you don't want that. So it was all about getting a tight fitted glove with a good grip, and which was long lasting, really.
Cut preference-wise, negative cut for you gives you that closest possible fit, doesn't it? It's what mimics obviously the profile of your fingers and your hand. It gives you a really tight fit. For yourself, Lee, when you get, in terms of cut preference, what is it you look for?
It's the same, obviously. I want to have the minimum on, and negative is what I think it's been popular in Germany for years, I think, and over here now a lot of people are starting to use it. So negative and just thin as possible.
And when you cut side material on the backhand, what else? What other details when you're looking at that glove, like the strap?
Strap's another one, yeah. I mean the strap. I mean you go on to I guess an evolution of the Maximus gloves to the new ones now, and there's a big difference. Maybe not to the naked eye, but to a goalkeeper, there's a big difference. You know, the strap, and I mean how thin this one is, and it's a real personal preference, but I think that this is the way that goalkeepers are going now. Like you said, Lee, that goalkeepers are going into this, they want to be able to feel the ball, they don't want excess baggage. And
I think it's even for the smaller goalies, it's even more, because if you've got small hands and then the foam's thicker, your hands are miles away from the ball. Obviously the bigger guys with bigger hands, they can get closer to the ball and they can almost cover the ball.
Yeah.
But smaller goalies, especially smaller hands, I think you want to be as close to the ball as possible, so you can feel it.
Yeah.
And that's something that was echoed when we were doing the development for this glove. The whole premise for the silo came from that original conversation we first had in 2015, because those fit markers that we put down about how to tweak, make it tighter, remove excess bulk on the back, it involved making marginal changes in terms of material and construction that gave you a fit which was accommodating and worked for you ultimately. But what was set there in that conversation was in motion was about, if we change the way we build gloves, ultimately by moving different materials like this, the Secretive glove is really distinctive because it uses a performance-based neoprene to it, which is a lot thinner than a conventional natural latex, right? So when you talk about the bunching, none of that exists, and it's probably the closest fit material you can get with a performance characteristic, which is water repellent as well, which is obviously a major issue.
It's a big difference. It's a big difference. I mean, you can just even see the difference between the two gloves now. I mean, you can see that.
I would say that was like two different sports.
Yeah.
It's not the same sport,
and
that one.
People have said to me, "I should get a biker's glove," and bikers want it really fitted, and that's what
we. And
that's a gardener's glove and biker's glove and scuba diving glove, but I think this is what you want now.
This is
you want
exactly.
to be able to feel the ball,
and you have a thin enough, but you have a good grip, and that's the main thing. Is that you have a fantastic.
The grips
grip.
are granted, isn't it? Given the standard of the latex and how latex has evolved, people have grip expectations. You can benchmark those and you can move it forward. In terms of that fit, the intuitive stuff, which is really, really a lot more difficult to pin down and say, look, we've made gains. We understand this glove better than anybody else. This is like black and white. You say there's two different sports when you look at this, Lee, because this is for you the past, isn't it?
I know, that's it. I think when you first sent us them,
be honest about it, in terms of the chats we had. For you, and that you've got to stress that it's...
I nearly never rang them back.
but also it's personal preference.
You've got to remember that this is what goalkeepers...
That's what it comes down to.
I think it's about education, because I want to educate that goalies to grab the ball, go and catch the ball,
Yeah.
rather than a lot of goalies will have a big, thick padding
Yeah.
and they want to absorb it and
Yeah.
not go and grab it. But I think if you're grabbing it, you're relying on your hands.
Yes.
A lot of people rely on the goalkeeping
Yes,
gloves. And you
yeah.
don't want to
So
do
it's
that.
more hand,
You
less
wanna-
glove.
Aye, I think you're best off doing bare hands to start and then moving on to something like this.
Because that's part of your training routine, isn't
No,
it?
I
It's
think
something
it's
that
a
we
great
talked
thing,
about.
aye.
You love to train in wet conditions. Like, so you, like, psychologically, this is interesting for me. When we first chatted, you said that if you had a preference and you're doing drills or you're building up to a game on a weekend, you'd like to have a session with a wet mat. You'd absolutely try and replicate drenched conditions,
the
and you can
fastest
see it
pace.
on your social feed, right? Because there's one of your most popular pieces of content is when you get the tarpaulin down, and you're whacking that ball down at pace, and you're doing sessions, aren't you, without gloves on?
I know it's nothing for views on social media. It's just a really
But that was
good-
part of your preparation, wasn't it,
I
to
think
do
if you
something
train at pace as fast as you can,
match day easy?
then you go to match day, it's nowhere near as
Yeah.
fast. Obviously the mat is full of water and you can put soap on as well, and it makes it so quick. It's not one for like a novelty thing. It's a really good drill, and I think if you train at pace and you go into games, everything's easy then because you're used to such a...
Psychologically, it gives you an edge.
I think
Your preparation.
soak the gloves, little things that haven't... I don't want to say too much in here because I don't want to give it away, but there's little things that I think it's best to handicap yourself and then make games as easy as possible. You know what I mean?
And that process of
Like
understanding
for
it.
training is really handicapping yourself, I think.
Well, we have to stress that there's different gloves with different people, obviously, and you're like a football purist when it comes to gloves.
I've never found a glove in 15 years that I've liked, but I think that's true. But I think that's on the way. Not at the minute, but I think on the way to being something that could be really good. And
There's a couple of details. I mean, it's when you see people like goalkeepers picking up gloves, they're looking at them in a way, and you're trying to dissect what are they actually thinking when they're looking at this, and where's the value when you're actually looking at a glove for the first time that's going to give them some sort of advantage. And there's a whole bunch of like technologies that we pieced together with this that didn't exist. And when you're doing things that are different and you're layering different things on each other, it creates a lot of complexity.
I think it's a big risk as
Yeah,
well, isn't
and
it?
that's what I say. I think with this glove, you need to get it, you need to try it, you need to believe in it.
I think you need to be in it for 3 or 4 months. You cannot just expect to have a week in it and think this is the one. I think you have to really get used to it, don't you? And
You need to get used to it, but it's because everyone is used to the original glove. It's like changing boots. If you're
It's like the Mercurial chat we had. Copa Mundial, Mercurial, and not wanting to name drop other brands, but there is a sea change mentality into the way boots have sold traditionally.
even goalkeepers now, how many wear
And now
materials?
goalkeepers are in that.
They all wear them?
They're in the same mindset, and they're playing with their feet, and they're more
I think
expressive.
it's all about speed now as well. And that's what we're trying to get off with
100%.
our social media. Everything's about speed. And obviously you want the lightest boots possible and you want the lightest gloves possible and thinnest, I think. So I think it's all might just be in your head, but you feel quicker because you're using thinner.
If you're it may be in your head, but if it's in your head and you're performing well, then it doesn't matter. That's the bottom line: is you performing well and feeling comfortable. You know, and
It's like Ken was saying about his goalies in the Premier League that wear big, bulky, really padded gloves, and it's just obviously now you don't expect that, but people do still wear them. That's what they're
Yeah, but that's
comfortable in.
years of
Whereas
conditioning,
Neil's
isn't
saying
it? And you take them away from them, and they're going to have a wobble, and they'll say, look, hang on, I need to go back. And the amount of players, it's interesting, isn't it? The amount of players that go back, when things go slightly awry, and they're dipping form, or they have an injury or whatever else.
well, it's interesting because at the start of this season, we had that.
Yeah.
When
And then just to give you some context, like when you came into the Prem and you were doing your pre-season, different conditions, different ball, different training regime, everything was amplified, and the margin for risk wasn't there to be tolerated, was it? And we were in the process of dropping this one into the market, and it's something that we've been working on for the best part of 3 years, right? So I get a phone call from you, like in your last week of pre-season, having a wobble, saying, "Oh, Bash, I don't think I can. I'm not quite there with this. I don't know if." I said, "What do you mean? You're like, there's no surprises. You've had about 16 iterations of this glove." And he says to me, "No, it's not working. There's a combination of things going on now that I haven't contended with before," and that is the whole thing about understanding performance. Yes. And those subtleties ultimately make change, don't they? Yes. And for you, we had to go back to go forward, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We had to go back to go forward. I needed to change certain things of the glove, and to make me feel comfortable whether it be mentally.
That's
Do you know
what
I mean?
that's what it's about. It's about feeling comfortable.
It doesn't matter for me. You know, I needed to feel comfortable. Obviously, a big step forward for me going into the Premier League, and I needed to feel comfortable. And I do remember the conversation. I was like, right, I'm gonna have to wear last season's gloves. I have to. I can't do it anymore. I need to. Big panic attack.
I think it's done brilliant to get you in something that you are happy with.
No, it's a big step, isn't it? It's a big step, and I think it's.
That could have went wrong.
Definitely, and if you know, if there had been a dip in form, you would have, you know, and we've had that chat before, you would have reverted to what you made you feel most comfortable. You minimise any risk.
And that's for any goalkeeper, whether you're playing in any league football, Premier League, or in as kids or not. Your safety net. You want to go for your safety net. You need to feel comfortable. So it doesn't matter what level you want to play in, but. What I would say is that doesn't mean you don't have to try something else. It doesn't have to be in a big risk situation. You know, you don't go into the Champions League final and put on a new pair of boots and a new pair of gloves if you never tried them before. But just, you know, maybe try them in training, and that's what I did. I kind of fed myself. I'm going to try them now, and then I'm not going to try them.
You could even try them at the start of the session and then revert back.
That's exactly what I did.
Gradually.
We had to do the whole. I mean, for us, when we had that conversation, it was. Minimise any confusion about what worked, what didn't, right? So bear in mind in that sample process, before you get to production, this is 18 months work for the actual production. If it's a new concept, you're talking about adding another 6 to 12 months to try and get some sort of consistency, design language, you know, the styling, the materials, all that stuff comes together. And when you get to the final tipping point where you're just about to push the button on production, you've got that whole reference of 16 so gloves that you've tried. Some of them didn't even have any kind of, it was literally just textile back. There was no detail on it whatsoever. It was just a pure canvas.
I literally remember trying on blue palm, black palm, white palm.
One on each.
One on each.
Old glove,
new glove.
Yeah.
Then half a
One
session,
with it.
like you said,
Worse
half a
than me.
session.
He is worse than you.
The goalkeeping coach is like, what is this guy going to... Session lasted 3 hours, so I was changing my gloves every 20 minutes.
Gloves on back to front, chain
Yeah,
out.
but that's the other thing, because coaches say, and the amount of time I've heard coaches say, there's something wrong with him. What's up with you today? Why do you keep looking at your hands? Yeah. Why are you adjusting? Why are you constantly tweaking the fit on your glove?
And also the conditions. In pre-seasons, it is hard. I mean, because it's dry.
Every glove's good in the dry.
Yeah.
If a glove's bad in the dry, then you don't.
Then you don't even touch it. And when the water starts to come down, when the rain starts to come down, then it's a real test.
You could use them in pre-season all the way through when it's dry. I think they're great.
Yeah.
First game of the season, the pitch is wet. And
So,
you
exactly. So all of a sudden, like we were saying, changing one glove, 2 different gloves. I remember we were saying I was soaking my gloves. Like I was just getting water and chucking water all over them. And was it slipping? Was it not slipping?
It's the best test,
and trying to do and replicate every single condition I could.
Yeah.
Because for me, mentally, I had to be ready. I had to be ready and feel fully comfortable in what I was about to wear going into the start of the season.
And if you think about it, I mean, we had a chat about this earlier. The journey that you've had over the last 3 years, I don't think has been mirrored by a professional goalkeeper. To go from League One Championship Prem, first player to come from the Philippines to play in the Premier League. I mean, it's a remarkable journey, but mentally, I'm not saying this to like, I think it's important to address, but your preparation going into the next season is into the unknown. Yeah. You know, that step from going from Walsall to Cardiff, moving to Cardiff, that first team spot wasn't necessarily a given. You had to forge your path in that squad. And it kind of, the form came with momentum. The team went on the rise. You became, you know, an integral part of that squad. Got promoted in your first year.
Yeah, I think everything fell into place.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, when I left Walsall, new experience, new test for me.
It's a big step up, isn't it?
You know,
Cardiff?
yeah, it's a big club. I mean, the biggest club is a big club, though. You know, it's just, you know, it's the capital of Wales. It's a big club, and then going in, and it did really help the way that we started the season. I think it was 6 unbeaten, and we were just doing so well, and that kind of was great for me because if I did make any mistakes, they weren't highlighted purely because we were winning games.
Yeah, that's right. As many as you want when you're winning.
Unfortunately, around the Christmas period, we were losing games and I made maybe 1 or 2 mistakes and I was getting punished for them. And obviously, you start to doubt yourself and, can I play at this level? Can I not? Even though you've played 6 months already, you know, can I play at this level?
Yeah.
And, like I said before, it was great for me that I did get dropped because when you come back, you're fearless. You're like, I've been dropped once. If I get dropped again, doesn't matter.
Exactly,
It is what it is. And carried on. I think everyone would say that the second half of the season I performed far better than the first.
At the time, it would have been the worst thing that's ever happened, and you would have been feeling really down. But
Yeah.
then it helps you
It
go
helped
on to
me.
new levels, doesn't it?
It did. It
And
really
best
helped
thing that
me.
happened.
And you know, even like going into this season, big season, they just brought in a new goalkeeper as well, and you know, Alex has been fantastic with me, to be honest, because he's been really supportive, and even when I was playing, obviously you're still looking over your shoulder. You're still gonna, but that's a good thing.
Some people it's good for. Some people like to be comfortable
Yes.
as the number one.
Yeah.
But obviously sometimes
It comes with its own set of pressures, doesn't it? It's
know,
like
it's
it's layering the intensity, the marginal gains that go through it become so like the margins are so fine, aren't they? I remember when like the first game, seeing you wear that glove for the first time against Bournemouth, and I was like, we've cracked it, because I knew in the build-up the week before, you know, it was
I
still
was
up in the
panicking.
air, you know, we didn't know whether we were going to be wearing it, and to see you wear it and then save the penno, I was like, thank God for that. You know what I mean? We're done now. He's not going to want to
Was
change.
it 2 in the first 2 games?
Yeah. Well, he had three penalties in the first 2 weeks, wasn't it?
No, it was, who did we play with? We had Bournemouth. Was it Bournemouth? No.
Bournemouth, Huddersfield, and Newcastle.
Yeah.
Definitely celebrating the
It was
Newcastle one.
two
Yeah.
pens in
Surely.
3 games. The first 2 games. I'm sure it was first 2 games. Yeah. It was.
But it was early on in the first game when against Bournemouth,
Yeah.
where you had the save,
Yeah.
and it was kind of like it just clicked into place, didn't it?
Yeah, the gloves just felt right, you know, and it's that mental process. And, you know, whether it be, you know, saving a penalty or having a good game, or, you know, you've no doubt that every goalkeeper's had it. You've had an unbelievable game in a pair of gloves and you do not want to change them
yeah.
gloves. Like, that's it, I'm wearing these gloves for the rest of the season. It can't happen.
How long would those last you? The ones that you won the first game of the season, saved the penalty. How long would you keep them for playing? Do you try, if you're playing well, do you try to keep them?
I try, but you know what? I like to try to break the mold as well. So like I can be superstitious to a certain degree,
yeah.
but I try not to. So I try not to cling on to them. So, you know, I do go through gloves quite regularly, purely because of the fact that I don't want to have a good game and keep a pair, but then have a bad game and not keep it. I don't want to keep it.
Did you keep those gloves from that game against Bournemouth?
Oh, you have to ask my girlfriend. I don't know. I think they are. They're probably in a box at home somewhere.
Yeah. No, because I remember. I think what you tend to do is cling on to them in training, and I know that when working with you previously, you've always said like, I'll give them more life in training to see, and I've always said to you, look, please wear them for as long as you can. I want to know exactly how durable I am. If there's any signs of weakness or if there's any wear and tear that's excessive, I want to document it. And if you're working at the elite level, there's no better reference. So they might not be on pitch on a Saturday, but if you're putting hours into them on a training pitch through the same rigours, you can learn equally as much. So I think, I remember having a chat with you after, that those gloves lasted longer.
Yeah.
Because they kind of like, they were the first ones that
They
passed
do.
muster, didn't they?
Some gloves naturally they last longer than others.
Would you wear the same ones in that week for training?
Yes.
As or in the warm up for a game?
So how I would normally work my gloves, I'm allowed to explain it, yeah?
Yeah, of course.
So I
I
usually,
don't know how long we've got. I mean,
so I will 9 times out of 10 go into a game with a new pair of gloves.
Yeah.
But I will wear it once. So my weekly routine, so like I'm going into next week. So tomorrow, I'll wear a brand new pair of gloves.
All right.
first session of the week.
Must give you a few then.
Yeah, he gets through them, yeah. Yeah, well, it's Premier League.
I thought you were being on 20 pages a season. Bloody hell.
So I'll get a pair and I'll wear them, and they will then go into I'll take them back home with me, and I'll wash them in the shower, and then when I go back home, I'll dry them and I'll leave them to dry. And I won't wear that pair now until Saturday. So that's my Saturday pair.
So they're ready to go.
Oh, the ones from
Monday.
you wear them once on a Monday.
So
and then
Monday
you
brand new, and then I'll dry them out. I'll clean them after I wear them. I'll always clean them every single day in the shower, doesn't matter. And that will be so the Monday pair will be my Saturday game pair.
Right.
And then from then, that will become, after I've used it on a Saturday, a couple of times this season, depending if it's been like a Saturday, Tuesday, or the pair I feel comfortable with, then I'll wear it again. But normally that will then become my training pair. and then I'll wear that and I'll just repeat the cycle over
okay.
and over and over
That
again.
makes
I
sense.
couldn't.
Why would it not be a Friday that you'd wear them and then wash them for the Saturday?
I used to do that. I used to do that on a Thursday. I used to wear them on a Thursday.
What went wrong?
I don't know. Like, I was just like, Friday I can't wear them because they won't have enough time to dry. Because I want to be bone dry.
Oh, yeah.
I want to be bone dry. I don't want. Even though I wet my hands before I put them in my gloves,
You don't want them to be wet when you put them on.
I don't want to be wet.
Why do you wet the hands? They should be nice and sticky inside, ready for you.
I just. I know. I don't know where I picked it up.
Why is that so? Why do you have to do that?
Before I go out, I'll go into like the toilet and stuff like that, and I'll just run the sink, wash hands,
exactly.
Always,
like
exactly.
that,
Yeah,
and then I'll put my gloves on. I don't know why.
It's quite a common thing though, isn't it? A lot of people think it's the connection with activating latex. When you get a new pair of gloves out of the bag, everyone rinses them. They're always told to pre-rinse them, aren't they? So that the durability of the latex isn't compromised and it kind of activates any of that adhesive natural stickiness you get with latex. So that's probably like why you consider it to be best practice.
I'd never go into a game with a brand new pair of gloves. I don't know about you. I have done it before.
I know,
But
I've been surprised with certain ones. They've been a lot better than I thought, but obviously you shouldn't, because you should wash them out and everything. Use them once at least first.
This sounds really like, this sounds biased, and it is biased. No, it's not really, it's actually truthful. Like the Tuto gloves that I'm wearing genuinely are actually really good brand new. Because you find a lot of gloves, you know, you can have a lot of gloves brand new, won't mention any brands, but they're not, they're slippery, or they've got like a chemical on them.
Oh yeah.
And they need to be washed before you get the real feel.
Oh, definitely.
Whereas genuinely, actually, like, I was very surprised with them. So actually, in my kit bag that I take to every game, I'll have a pair that's probably been there since the start of the season, which was probably the first Monday of the season, that's been sitting there. Then I'll have my match pair that I'll wear, which is a rotation, and I'll have a brand new pair. So I'll take 4 pairs to the game.
What about if it's soaking in the warm-up? Would you still wear your match ones?
Still wear them.
Would you?
Yeah, I still.
But then they're not going to be bone dry for you going at the game.
It's weird though. I know. It's like at half time. At half time, we have the option to have brand new kit. Yesterday against Watford.
So Premier League, aren't you?
I know. 1 degree. I didn't change
Costume
my kit.
changes.
No, but I didn't though.
Oh,
I didn't. We have the option to change full kit, and I'm there shivering.
Only in bad conditions, right?
No, any condition.
So even if like, so it's like 20 degrees outside.
Yeah, but you're sweating, loads of sweat. And,
Okay.
You know,
Well,
need to
full
change.
outfit change. You know, base layers.
You can
And
have everything. You change the whole kit. You have a shower if you want at half time.
Big time, isn't it?
I've heard it before as well.
Oh yeah.
Even at my level.
I've heard even people changing boots at half time.
Yeah. No, that's
Stuff
something
like
I've heard
that.
before.
But
They
it's
say you should never change your gloves, don't they?
Yeah, I don't know, I'm not really. I usually like to stay so I'll go out in full training kit, apart from I wear my match socks. So full training kit, match socks.
Do you wear match socks for warm-up?
I wear the I can't mention what they are.
Brand.
I've got a really good one, by the way.
Identified
I'm
brand.
not allowed to. So I've got them, and that's the only, so, them socks, and then the rest of it will be my training kit.
Yeah.
But your gloves are your match gloves?
My gloves and match gloves, boots will be match boots. Then I come in, I will literally get rid of it all, and then I will put my base layers on and my kit, same gloves, same boots, obviously same socks and stuff. But some people like to warm up in their match shorts and stuff like that. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not a big fan of it. I like to train and match. I've even gone into games, and there's always going to be some sort of not always going to be. You're going to have a little hiccup in a glove, or you might have a little stitch that's out of place, or something may have happened. But if I've worn that glove in the warm-up and I've got even a small little, any problem, I'll still carry on until it falls apart. Yeah. If it fell apart.
Has that ever happened? And honestly, have you ever been in a situation where you've been playing mid-match and they've gone?
Not gone, but I've had a little hole here.
Yeah.
And I think my strap wasn't fully working.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't
and how
change
much of a distraction is that for you mentally? You're looking at it thinking, I've got a problem here.
No, you do want everything to be perfect, don't you? But
you do,
you've
but
got
you
to
just get on with it.
I think I just got on with it. I was just like, you know what, I'd rather be used to the grip that I already know than change a pair of gloves, which I still know what it's going to be like. But I just couldn't do it. I was like, no, I want to kick with these.
No, he's worse than me, him, like.
I'm not sure about that, actually. I'll be honest with it. But I think that's it, really, in terms of bringing it to conclusion. Thank you very much for your time, guys. Much appreciated. Thank you for everything today, mate. Really appreciate it. Thanks for all your efforts today, boys.
Thank you.
And that's it. For the gloves are off. Until next time.